Hello everyone, and once again welcome to my channel. Today I will be talking about the third film in the Matrix Trilogy, Matrix Revolutions. Oh boy, where to start with this one? I'm just gonna flat out say it, Matrix Revolutions is not a good movie. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but it's still not very good. Being the third film in the trilogy, this movie was made to end it all. And what's kind of interesting is that it's not like a standalone movie, it's more of a second part to Matrix Reloaded. I honestly don't know why they didn't call this Matrix Reloaded Part 2, but it's best not to question the Wachowskis when it comes to filmmaking. It's kind of hard for me to describe the plot of this one because at some point during Matrix Reloaded I got lost in the plot and I was just more entertained by the action stuff, but I'm gonna try it anyway. It starts with Neo being in this kind of limbo subway station somewhere between the real world and the Matrix, and Morpheus, Trinity, and Seraph must go rescue him. After doing that, Neo and Trinity decide to take a ship to the Machine City while everyone else defends Zion. And while all of this is happening, Smith has completely taken over the Matrix. If you're someone who has not seen the Matrix before, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. Now back to this being a continuation of Reloaded. Supposedly, Reloaded and Revolutions were filmed at the same time, so it's technically a 4-hour movie. So I guess it makes more sense to watch the two back to back, but no one has time for that. I think the biggest problem with this movie, and probably any third movie in a trilogy, is that it has a lot to live up to. Matrix is now considered a classic action film, and while Matrix Reloaded isn't as good, it still has a lot of really fun, schlocky action scenes. Getting the third movie to be the best is something that's very hard to do. It's mostly because you need to capture that feel of closure and you need to satisfy the audience. I've noticed through all of the films that I've watched, a lot of times the third movies are very similar. The big army is coming to attack and the side characters must fend it off while the main characters get caught up in a situation where likely one of the main characters die, which is exactly the case with Matrix Revolutions. For a movie with Matrix in the title, there is not a lot of the Matrix in it. You know, the Matrix is the coolest part of each movie. It's what the movie's named after. It's what people want to see. Another problem is that even though Neo is the main character, he kind of takes a step back so we can focus more on the side characters. I mean, it was his story we were following from the beginning, so we should really care most about him, but I think all the stuff with Neo is the least interesting aspect of the film. But even with that said, why should we even care about these lesser characters? To be honest, the sci-fi stuff with the mechs and the robots flying around is pretty cool though. I think it was just the designs and stuff that managed to kind of entertain me throughout. But even if I kind of enjoyed it because of that, it's hard to be invested when we really don't know a lot about the characters, so we don't really care too much if they die. If you're making a movie that's all leading up to a big battle, you really need strong characters, or else we're just not going to care at all what's happening in it. A lot of things in this movie actually felt like they were made up as they went along. So after being blinded, spoilers I guess, after being blinded, Neo can still see everything as light, and he's somehow able to destroy the machines with his mind. I'm sure there's gotta be some logic to that, but it wasn't very well explained and I certainly didn't catch anything. You'd also think that the final fight with Neo and Smith would at least try to make some sense, but nope. This is one of those situations where either I'm just really stupid or the Matrix movies make less sense as they go along. This movie has a ton of unsatisfying conclusions. I didn't really know if I wanted to get into spoilers or not, but I think I'm going to. And while I'm talking about spoilers, I definitely have to bring up Trinity's death. She came so far just for her to die from Neo telling her to crash into a building. She didn't even get killed by the robots, it was just Neo being stupid. Also, her being killed off feels so unnecessary, like it really didn't have to happen. It's like they knew it was the last movie, so some main character would have to die, but the way it was executed wasn't very well thought out. But if I had anything good to say about this movie, I will say that it is kind of cool to see a Matrix film focused outside of the Matrix. Even if I did complain about it before, I do like seeing the sci-fi stuff in the real world. But if you ask me, it should not have been done with the last movie. It would have worked better as like a spin-off or something. I have seen much worse movies than this, but I can't deny that this is still a mess. Overall, I can only recommend this movie to people who have watched Reloaded, because if you have watched Reloaded, you're gonna want to know how it all ends. There are lots of cool ideas in theory, but overall they just don't pay off. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.